that's okay with you.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Herney. Tonight I've got Alan Cowgill talking to you about private money. And I went through some of his material about private lending, and there's just a couple of things I've noticed. I've had a lot of opportunities to partner with people, and I'm very reluctant to partner with someone. I'd just as soon have different friends of mine, well, different people I know that are willing to invest in me because of the track record I have, like many of you guys on the call tonight. And I don't need a partner because very seldom do you and a partner, or me and a partner, have the same interests, okay? And most of us already have two partners. One is a spouse or a significant other, and the other partner we have is the IRS. So who needs another partner? I think you can contract for just about any service. And then you've got a fair amount of freedom. Alan, I know everyone's getting one of your books. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
But I'll know who they are. You tell me which one it is. There are 7 reasons to use private investors, and private investors and 6 reasons you need them.
Yeah, I sent Mike over a couple books as a gift for you folks, and I think you'd be extremely interested in what they got to say. So
there's a fair amount of material in those, and 2 things I liked.
Yeah.
And then I'll step back and let you roll.
All right.
7 reasons to use private investors. I think the main reason is if you go into a bank or a hard money lender, you're a term taker. You're not a term maker. In other words, with those conventional sources of money, they're telling you what the loan to value is, what the interest rate is, when the payback is. But if you're going to private investors, then you can set up the terms. In the other book, Private Investors and 6 Reasons You Need Them, it talks about the opportunity cost. A lot of people forget that. They forget the down payment, the escrow, the carrying costs. And with a good private investor, you can usually get a balloon loan so that they understand what's going on and they're ready for that payday. And of course, the last thing I want to mention is that private investors or hard money lenders, the term is accurate because they're not hard. What it is, or what it means, is that they're lending on the hard asset, the house, the property. So if I'm buying a single family house, the banks and lenders are very much interested in me and my financial background. However, if I was going to buy like the Prudential Center for $1 billion, they don't care about a late payment or a medical payment that I missed or was late on, or a cable bill that was charged off, which I don't have anyway, either of those. They care about, is this hard asset, this physical piece, is that going to make sense in their loan? So Alan, this is Alan Cowgill from Private Money Lending, and you guys have heard a ton of stuff from me on the calls and on the emails. So Alan, it's all yours.
You got to let me in. I got to be a co-host. It's got me blocked right now, Mike. While Mike's doing that, just so you know, you're the first group that I've handed those books out. I created the books a while back, and I have given them out individually, but you're the first group that I did. I just thought it'd be good for you. And just like Mike picked up, there's a lot of meat in those books. So you'll get a lot out of them. All right.
Alan, you also wanted me to stay in the chat box.
Yeah. Yeah. At the on the chat box, what I like to do is this. I'm gonna talk for hour and 15 or hour and 90 minutes, 90 minutes. And at the end, what I like to do is answer your questions. I don't want to leave you out there in the wind where you got a question and you don't get it answered. So at the end of this, what I'm asking you to do is, if you got a question as I go through my training, is you put it in the chat box. And then what I've asked Mike to do is when I get done is he'll start reading those questions to me and I'll answer them. And if you need to dig down more, then as far as I'm concerned, you can click on the mic and you and I will talk. Okay. But I don't want to just get off and not get your questions answered. Okay. So, so just put your information in the chat box, and I'll take care of you when we're done. And Mike talked a little bit about partners. I had 2 partnerships, and if you can vision it, they start out like cute little puppies, and they both ended up as ugly dogs. So the nice thing is about private money is you can do this without other folks out there. So, and run your own business. Let me get this thing going. I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's get more money in your bank account. I think that's why you showed up. Many people here because they got a burning desire to take their real estate business next level, maybe quit that JOB and make big chunks of money. I'm going to show you how you get all the money you need to buy single family homes, apartment complexes, or commercial property, regardless of your credit or financial situation. Many folks are just getting started and need funding for their deals, and other folks are out doing deals with their own money. What I'm going to show you is who should use private lenders. What I found is any beginners that are listening right now, the biggest hurdle you have to get over is where to find the money. In fact, you take the hardest road and you go to banks and look for money that way. If you're an intermediate real estate investor, you can do a handful of deals and the lending institutions will shut you off. How do I know that one? It's happened to me 3 times, and that's what moved me over to really focus on getting private money. And nothing changed in my life, good credit, but they changed their rules, and then it stopped my business for a while until I could find other means for getting funding. And then if you're an experienced real estate investor, maybe you're using your own money to deals, maybe that ought to be liquid and you ought to be using private money instead. What I'm going to train you on is the best, the easiest, the cheapest, and the safest way to fund your deals. Isn't that what you're looking for? That's a bottom line right there. And private lending is the only way to do that. A little bit more about my background. I was out in the corporate world. I've got a quarter century in corporate America. Last 17 and a half years, I worked for a company called Honeywell. And those strobe lights you see going over at night, that was my department. I had about 60 folks working for me. Also, cockpit lights. I did some closures of some banks or some businesses, and moved them. And that was one of them, the cockpit lights. I also did acquisitions in Europe. And even though I was successful in corporate America, I was still living paycheck to paycheck. And I'd seen some of my family members quit their JOB, retire, and they were struggling. And I thought, that's not the way I wanted to end my life. There has to be a better way. And I realized that if I went down the path with having a JOB, I was going to retire like they were poor. So kind of let you know what I was living through at the time. Even though I was successful in corporate America, I was living in a dinky 2-bedroom apartment, and I had this old beat up car that I needed to put some maintenance work into, but I was too busy paying my other bills, and I put that on the back burner. And I'll be darned if on the first date that car didn't pay me back. You see, I had a very first date with this gal, and I pulled up in front of the apartment complex, and I started to walk her up to the door, and I heard something. I turned around and looked, and my car had burst into flames. Well, that's a pretty impressive date, isn't it? Can you imagine how embarrassed I was watching a fireman put my car out that night? Every morning when she woke up, the remembrance that date was a burnt, charred mark. Well, it kept me frustrated with my life, even more than what it was before. And I looked into doing different things like franchises, but they take money. I couldn't do that. In fact, when I show this in groups, like if we were all together and I show this, somebody would yell out hot date, more like first and last date. I did decide to invest though that year. I took, right after this happened, I took my federal tax return money and plunked it down on lottery tickets. That was my way of investing back then. Lost on every ticket, kept me broke, kept me frustrated, not knowing what to do. One night I couldn't sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, I got up and I started to channel surf, and I hit one of these real estate infomercials, and I thought, maybe this is the answer for me. And I spent all my money that day on lottery tickets, but they take a credit card, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I ordered that home study system, and became enthralled with real estate. And that year I bought my first 2 investment properties, the next year 5, following year 18. Since that point in time, I've done hundreds of transactions, and half of the deals are without monthly payments. Can you imagine having $1 million loaned to you and you don't have to worry about monthly payments? I'm going to show you that here in a few minutes. Just imagine that technique. You know, when I look back at my life, I had all those humorous failures going on. That's what, not the way we want to end our life. We want to have phenomenal successes. And I realized that it's all about choices we make, you know, and on those choices, it directions your path for the rest of your life, like it did for me in getting into real estate. It's all about action and picking the right choice. And so you could take action on what I'm going to teach tonight, and I hope you do. And I hope you do it embracing the training that I'm going to give you tonight so that you can move in the right direction. I took action, and here's my why. My why is my children. This is my daughter, Brittany, and she's one happy kid. She has her master's degree. She's a high school teacher, married. They got a house and a dog and a cat. And I got a 2-year-old granddaughter. And just yesterday, a new granddaughter got to come home after being in the hospital after she was born for 53 days. And so it's the happiest I've ever seen Brittany in her whole life. She's just ecstatic. This is my boy, Mark. And Mark didn't care about going to school. He was a band kid, though, and he wanted to get into a school that had a band. And I'll be darned if that band didn't march in the Rose Bowl parade my son's freshman year. And this is a picture I got to take of my boy marching in the Rose Bowl parade. He's got his bachelor arts degree and doing great. And this is my other daughter, Wendy. She's a nurse practitioner, and she's also got her PhD, and she's the assistant dean of nursing at a major university. This is her husband, John, great guy. He's an entrepreneur, got his own business. And this is their son, my grandson, JC. And as you can see, I'm training him to be a successful real estate investor. And that what we want to do, sit on the patio and eat ice cream, right? Hey, Mike has asked me to do a Saturday workshop. And I want to tell you about it for just a second, and then we'll move into the rest of the information. But on this workshop, what I do is I teach from 9 to 1, so 4 hours on a Saturday. I'll take a break halfway through, 10-minute stretch break. I'll get you all your questions answered. And one of the most important parts that I'm going to teach you is the legal stuff for your state on what you can and can't do. There's nobody out there on planet Earth teaching it at my level. I hired an SEC attorney to research every state. And when he got done, he said, I want to thank you. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, I'm moving into my new house and you just bought it. You don't want to hear that from anybody. You just paid them so much money, you bought their house. But it gives you an indication of the moral obligation, the dedication I had to you to get the facts, okay? I cover that on Saturday. Going back up to the top of this, path to wealth, what's that? Well, what I did was I created a chart on what you need to say, when you need to say it, what you need to do, and when not to do anything on this one-page chart. And I call it my path to wealth. It takes you all the way from when you meet a potential private lender all the way down to the closing. And it's a roadmap. And I'm going to give you that. I'll walk you through that on the Saturday workshop. It's not this Saturday. It's like a month away. Okay, so you got plenty of time to plan for it. I will show you how a system I came up with where I could buy 5 houses with 0 marketing cost and virtually 0 effort, 5 houses a month. Rules you must follow for your state, which I already talked about, and then 16 reasons why you need private lenders. I'll give you more private money content and deal structuring, more private money tools and techniques and tips, powerful scripts. You know, private lenders loan you money based on the fact that they trust you. So important on what comes out of your mouth. And so I'll give you my scripts for you to use. And how your funding is out of order and you don't know it, that'll shock you when I show you that. And attracting and converting people into private money lenders. So that'll be Saturday. Mike will let you know more about when on that. And I've got 2 books, ebooks, that I'm going to give you when you show up. Different from the 2 that Mike's going to send out to you. So these 2 here, the one on the right where I'm standing up is out on Amazon and people pay for that. You're going to get it for free. And the other one, the guy in the blue shirt, says the secret $1 million technique to get private money from folks you know. That is an incredible ebook. It's about 70 some pages and has a ton of training in it. So you get two. You show up Saturday, you get 2 books, ebooks. I want to start out with a little bit of my history and bring you up to date. I started out with banks, and they were friendly to creative real estate investors. But what happened was one day the regulators came in and looked at the bank's books, said, you can't do those type of loans anymore. And what that did is it shut my funding down and all the other folks that were going there that were creative real estate investors. So what I did was I went over and I got a line of credit. Now with a line of credit, when you max that out, you shut your own business down. And every year they can call that thing due. And a lot of times it doesn't even cover your deal, does it? So I gravitated over to a hard money lender. Mike touched on that. I'm going to touch on it here in a lot in just a second. But a hard money lender, they get to set the rules. And I did 16 deals in 2 months using hard money. And I learned how expensive they could be. And now I've also got creative financing on this chart. And you might say, well, wait a minute, Alan, we all do creative financing. Why would you put that on there? There's a good reason. The reason I put that on there is because I never want you to lose a deal. But if you go out there to creative financing and you don't have the money to fund it, or you don't have the money for walking money for the folks, if that's what they need, or your rehab, and you have to walk away from a deal, then I never want that to happen. And the way you solve that problem is having access to money, a phone call away. Getting private money is like ordering a pizza. How would you like to order money the way you order a pizza? That's what I do. All right. And that's what I want you to do. What's the bottom of this slide say? Not in control of my financing. What do I mean by that? That means that somebody else is setting the rules on 3 of the 4 items that you just saw. The banks, the lines of credit, and the hard money, they set the rules. But with private money, you're going to be able to set the rules. I'm going to show you how that works. With creative financing, I already explained that. If you don't have the money, you're dead in this, okay? So let's talk about being at the mercy of banks. When I speak all over the nations, if I was with you right now, there's a good chance I would ask for a show of hands of people that are going to bank, or for the beginners, think they're going to go to a bank. I want to take a look at this and have you recognize what you're really looking at. This is the hardest way to get money. Number one is you can lose some of the best deals because somebody with all cash comes along and buys it out from underneath you. You got to have money down, could be up to 20% down. Banks like points and loan fees, but granted they aren't high. Private lenders don't do that. But the loan fees that you're getting there, or in the hard money lenders, are eroding your base, your profit base. They won't finance some unusual deals. I'll show you some of my deals they wouldn't have touched that I made tens of thousands of dollars on, all because I had access to private money. They like monthly payments. I told you you could do deals without monthly payments. How about if I teach you tonight how to do deals and never have to worry about monthly payments? Think about that. They take time. I wanted to buy a duplex, place appraised okay, credit's okay. Took the bank 4.5 months to say yes. That's crazy. You know, you using private money, you could get an offer accept on Monday and own the property on a Friday. Wouldn't you like to live in that world? That's a lot better than waiting around on somebody else to pull your chain. You know, they take time. No relationship with the bank. You think you do. You're lulled into a sense of security because you got somebody's name in their business card. I'm here to tell you, you got air. You got nothing, because they can quit, retire, get promoted. You know, you got to start all over again. Or they change the rules like they did on me. You are disqualified from borrowing when you have too many properties. Now let's take a look at that one. Why'd you show up? Well, you showed up to learn how to buy properties with private money. You know, I had 3 banks close me down. One of them I already talked about when the regulators come in. The other 2 was when I had 4 properties, they changed their internal rules and all of us got shut off. You know, why would you, you're the expert in your business. Why would you let a lending institution throttle your business? You ought to be in control of that. You got poor credit, they aren't going to touch your income, doesn't satisfy the bank, they aren't going to touch it. But the biggest dichotomy of all, so many of us, myself included, we get into real estate to get out of our JOB. But the day you quit your job is the day the bank will quit you. How do I know that one? That's exactly how I learned that when I quit my job. I was with this bank for a few years. I was with that particular company, which was Honeywell, for 17 and a half years, and they shut me off when I quit my job. I thought the bank would stick with me. They didn't. You know, let's take a look at this. If you are listening to me right now and your passion is to get out of your job, and your vehicle to do that is to go to a bank, but the day you quit your job, that bank is going to quit you, you are building your business plan on sand. How about if I teach you tonight how to build your business plan on a rock solid foundation where it doesn't matter how many properties you got, doesn't matter what your income or your credit is, doesn't matter whether you got a job or not, you can still run this business the way you want to run it. Hard money, the thing on hard money is they're expensive. Let's take a simple example here of a $100,000 loan from a hard money lender. Well, they want you to put $15,000 down. That's a chunk of money, isn't it? Out of 100,000. And then they get paid via points. And for those of you that might not know, that's a percent of the deal. So 100,000, 5 points, that would be 5,000 coming out of your side of the HUD one. Private lenders don't charge points. You get to make the rules. You get to make the rules. You got to cough up your own cash for renovation with a hard money lender. When you walk out of closing, you get a key and a deed, but you got to dig in your pocket another time to start the demolition work. You build it up to a certain level. You call up the hard money lender. They will send in the money that you pay for with the appraiser. They'll send in the money, or you'll send in an appraiser that you pay for. And if you did what you said, then they start releasing money. And that's why you went to them, because they'll fund your rehab and they'll give you draws, 1, 2, or 3 draws. When I walk out of closing, I got the same key and deed that you have. But on the other hand, I got a fistful of cash. The day I buy, I have a fistful of cash for my rehab. And then you got to pay a hard money lender back in 12 months. They'll put a balloon on it. And private lenders don't do that. What's the bottom of this slide say? Very important. What's it say? Not the same as a private lender. What's happened over the last couple years, maybe the last 3 years, is I've seen a trend where hard money lenders are calling themselves private lenders. I don't have anything against hard money lender, but a lot of my students are hard money because they use private money to become a hard money lender. Okay, and you ought to be thinking about that as I go through this talk. You get another stream of income, and so hard money lenders are calling themselves private lenders. I think that's muddying the water. I know why they're doing it, but with a hard money lender, they set the rules. With a private lender, we get to set the rules. That is the distinction between those two. The key is who sets the rules, okay? Now, where do you need private lenders? Well, just about anywhere. Rehabs, wholesale, subject to, short sales, sweat equity, Airbnb, luxury homes. I don't have any luxury homes where I'm at. A luxury home for me is when I buy a property and it's got a toilet in it. I think it's a luxury home, okay? Commercial property, motels, apartment complex, self-storage units, mobile homes, parks, and a bunch more. So about 35% of my student base is commercial and the rest are residential. So what's a private lender look like? First one looked a lot like my mother. In fact, I just got off the phone with her before we started. Mom's 94 now. And what happened was I came up through my real estate education. I heard this thing about hard money lenders and private lenders, and I thought they were the same. And after a while, after I studied this, I realized that they're distinctly different. Hard money lender sets the rules. Private lenders, I got to set the rules. That always sound like a pretty good deal to me. Mom had come into this money when Dad passed away, and she did what most folks would do. She went down and plunked it down on a bank certificate of deposit. She would drive 45 minutes one way just to get a few pennies more on a bank CD. And I go back to Mom and I said, look, I said, you're getting a poultry load rate of return on a bank CD. I'll pay you 3, 4, 5 times what you're getting on a bank CD. I'll give you a mortgage, a promissory note, hazard insurance, lender title insurance. I'll give you simple interest only loan and I'll pay you monthly, which is what she wanted. She wanted that monthly check. And she jumped for joy and she became my first private lender. And what I did there was just to explain to you the makeup of getting private money. Okay, part of it. Then I quit my job. I had a second private lender. His name was Ed. And I'm a little bit embarrassed to tell you, I went over to his house one night and he asked me a bunch of questions and I couldn't answer them all. But by the time I got done, he agreed to loan me money. So I had two private lenders. The problem of it is I didn't see the power and the potential of getting private lenders because I was going down to the corner bank and getting loans like many of you. And I didn't recognize that when I quit my job, things would change for the worse if I didn't have another vehicle for getting money. And so after I got that second lender, 4 years later, I quit my job. And I took the company package. They gave me a sweetened package. And I was the first person to volunteer. They had a layoff, and I wanted out. I wanted to be a full-time real estate investor. Problem of it is my timing. There was a downturn in the rental market. I had to evict some folks, and I ran into a negative $10,000 cash flow, and banks wouldn't touch me. Then I thought back about Mom and Ed, and I realized that the answer to my situation was to find private lenders fast. But there wasn't a roadmap available. I'm going to teach you the roadmap tonight. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I wanted to leverage my time, like it says at the bottom of that slide. And so I could go around and ask people one-on-one for money, but I had to move fast because of this negative $10,000 cash flow problem. So I had a meeting, and I put together 37 slides to show them about my business. And I didn't know if I was going to be all alone in an echo chamber that day or if there'd be 50 folks in the room. And what happened was 18 folks showed up. And I got up in front of them. I told them about my real estate business, my dreams, my aspirations. I showed them the 37 slides. And then I just flat out asked them for money. And it worked. And it worked. And it worked so well, I did it the next month. I had about 15 folks show up, did it all over again, asked for money again. And I took a pad and a pen a couple months later and I added up and I had $1 million to go buy property coming out of those two meetings. And it changed my life. It launched me on getting private money. Fortunately, I found the roadmap, and that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm known all over the nation as the guy that's cracked the code on private money. And I made it work for me and many, many others. And you can do the same by just learning a few simple things that I've done. Now, here's 3 days in my life. This is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These are 3 different properties. Here's Monday. These folks, I want to sell this outright. These folks come along and says, hey, we got credit bruises. We can't get a loan, but we got $40,000 we'll put down on this if you'll be our bank. I knew in a nanosecond I was going to bank that $40,000 that day. So that was a Monday. And next day I did a wholesale. Now, especially beginners doing wholesales. On a wholesale deal, you put earnest money down and you got a contract date, okay? And what happens is, as you come up against this contract date, if you don't have this thing handled, you can lose your earnest money and you can lose the deal. I never want that to happen. I have a safety net. My safety net is private money. If I get close to that date, which is what happened on this property, I fund it with private money and then I wholesale after the fact. This property that you're looking at there, I had a buyer. Their money was coming in 1 week after my date. I went to the seller. The logical thing to do was ask them to move it out. They wouldn't do it because they knew my buyer. They knew they were going to get more money from him because I negotiated a better deal. And they knew that if they just held the course that this thing wouldn't go through and they'd get to take my buyer. I didn't think that was fair. And so what I did was I funded it. And then a couple months later, I walked away with $10,451. There's 2 checks on there. That's the money I walked away from, all because I had private money and I could save the deal and put that money in the bank. The next day, which is a Wednesday, this property here, I only been in this place 10 minutes. Guy comes along. When I was in there, he said, hey, I saw your signs out front. I want to live in this area. He said, I can't buy it right now, but he said, I can fix this place up and then I'll buy it. And got to work up some money for down payment and things like that. I said, that's great, because I didn't have to touch the thing. I just took the lockbox off the door. Him and I wrote some paperwork up, and he did what he said, and I got $7,664. I know it's not a lot of money, but it's okay if you only been in the place 10 minutes and never touched it, right? So what's the bottom line? $40,000 Monday, $10,451 on Tuesday, $7,664. Walked away with $58,115. Now, I didn't show you that for the money, even though the money's cool. I showed you that for the flexibility. All those deals were different types of deals, weren't they? You have tremendous flexibility with private money. The big question is, how much of your own money do you need to do a deal? Not a penny. I didn't have one penny in those deals that you just saw. Once you learn how to utilize private money, whenever you need more money to buy a property, you just plug in my system and more money comes out. Let's talk about landlords. I got a cookie cutter here for landlords. I'm a landlord. You want to buy and fix with private money. Why would you do that? Because you can move fast. You can beat the competition. So buy with private money, fix with private money, and then you can rent the place, and then you refinance. I don't care if you refinance it through a lending institution or if you refinance it with a private lender and have the loan amortized. I pay my lenders 3 different ways. Now, all of you can't do this. If you're just a landlord, then you're going to amortize loan long term. Interest rate I see going in the nation on that right now is between 4 and 5%, 4.5%. That is a great way to go. Okay. The other way is the way I paid my mom, which is simple interest only, and that's between 5 and 6% right now. And also I pay on the 15th of the month. I didn't know to do that early on, but tenants, sometimes they pay late, right? And so they're taught from birth that the rent is due on the 1st, okay? But sometimes they don't pay on the 1st. So what I do is I pay my private lenders on the 15th. In fact, if I had to think about it, back then I might have even done it the 21st. Give myself some wiggle room in there before I have to come up with the money, okay? And then you can refinance and get the private lender that you got on there off. So you might put a private lender in there, let's say on the last way where you weren't doing any monthly payments. Here's the last way, the third way, is no monthly payments. They get paid when you get paid, which is when you sell the property. And I do that on the buy, fix, sell properties. That's between 7 and 8%. So I got 3 different ways that I pay. So let's say you have somebody in there on 7% on this, no monthly payments, double-edged sword on that, because you got to realize, in about 2.5 years, you're going to be upside down on this thing. So you're going to have to get it handled. You need to know how you're going to get out when you get in. So if you do that and you can't get this thing sold, then you need to amortize this, refinance with a different lender and let it pay down, okay? But in this example here, you refinance and then you do it again and again and again, and you can build an empire. And you don't need a lot of private lenders to do that, do you? Okay. Just to expand your mind for a second, and then the rest of this, we'll talk all about real estate. There is different things you can do on using private money. Number one is you can use it to buy your own home, not a, rental property or whatever, income property. You can use it to buy your own home. Note buyers, I speak for note buyers every now and then. Why do they have me in there? Because they need the money for the notes. I spoke for 450 mortgage brokers. What they want? They wanted to get that 5 points I showed you about on the hard money lenders. They wanted to learn how to get private money so they could get that 5 points. You could become a hard money lender. I'll show you one of my students here in a little bit. You ought to seriously think about that. How would you like to have so much money you can't spend it all? I did. I had so much money I couldn't spend it all. I had so much private money coming in that I couldn't get it all spent. You see, when I started out with Mom and Ed, I had a little trickle of money. And then when I had those 2 meetings, got $1 million, I had a flood of money. Okay. I had a river of money. I should put it that way. I had a river of money. But I'm going to show you a technique here where I had a flood of money. And when I got that flood of money, I couldn't get enough property bought. So I hired a guy to go buy property for me. And because I have systems, what happened was he came on board in mid-September, and using my techniques from mid-September, this is a guy who only bought 2 personal residences. Using my techniques, my systems, from mid-September to Christmas, he bought me 21 properties. And then from New Year's to August, he bought another 48 on top of that. That's a lot of private money, isn't it? So if you get so much money, you could go that way, the way I did, or you could be a hard money lender, or you could do both. You could fund a business, a boutique, produce movies. I got done speaking about just a hair over a year ago out in LA, and I had at least 3 students in the room that were movie producers, and I've had them come to my events, different folks, and they're movie producers, and they need private money to fund their movies. on a concert. Got some folks here where I live in Springfield, Ohio. Over in Columbus, Ohio, there's a group of folks talking about doing concerts with private money. Let me tell you about Esther. She said, your methods helped me raise $240,000 within the first 24 hours. Boy, was I shocked I could do it. Thanks, Alan, for jump-starting my battery and being in the real estate business for some time. I was throwing away 5 to 10 deals a week because of lack of funds. That'll make you sick, won't it? You know, pretty exciting though, right? Fixed her problem by getting private money. You curious how I find people to loan me millions? Well, I'm going to show you one way today that you can raise money hardly doing anything. I'm going to show you a way how you talk to grandma and how you can talk to Uncle Joe and get money. And doing these things, you'll be able to raise a lot of money. It's a very simple and easy way to access. You got options on getting lenders. You could have a meeting for one, like I did with Mom and Ed, or a meeting for many, like I did with those 18 and 15 folks, okay? Now, you're going to ask me, well, you know, Alan, you're meeting those folks face to face. You know, what do? You do just what we're doing right now. Do a Zoom. Get a bunch of people on there and do a Zoom. Let me show you one way that my students are doing a meeting for many. They could have a meeting for many and possibly do a luncheon if you're all in the same room. Things are opening up more. So get people together, you could buy their lunch. And that's what I did. And I'll tell you why here in a second. I've set it up where I've resolved a lot of concerns. You don't have to do a lot of public speaking. You don't have to have any anxiety. It's pretty easy, and it can be a lot of fun. You got 3 steps to go through. You might want to write these down. I'm going to go through each one of these. Number 1, generate leads. Look, you have to generate a lead to buy property. So open that up. Hey, Mike, you got people talking out there.
The register button is on my website.
Can you mute them?
Realestate.net.
Mike?
And for some reason, it says the service is down, the buttons are down. I don't know if you can do anything, but I appreciate you taking a shot.
Hey, Mike, is that you talking?
1-405.
Hey, Mike.
The site is massrealestate.net.
Hey, Mike, can you kill your mic? Mike? All right. Just like buying properties, you got to generate leads. Just like selling properties, you got to generate leads to sell your property. It's no different than private lenders. You need to generate leads. I'll show you that. You can send information to them, or you can invite them to a luncheon or one-on-one meeting. I got just some information I think it's killer that I send out. And then they pass or play. I fell on my sword on my first luncheon, but I fixed it in the second luncheon. I'll share that with you what I did. So on generating leads, you could send out some advertisement. And in this one here, I've got a date and a location, but I don't put the time down because I want them to call me. Why? Because I was buying lunch and I wanted a head count. And people with money know other people with money. And I wanted them to bring those folks too. And also I wanted to make sure they had directions on how to get to it. And so look at the bottom there in the yellow. It says you got to have permission to advertise. Talk more about that later. Generating leads. Once you get that, then you can meet them in a group meeting, a one-on-one, a Zoom group meeting, and then get the answer. So it's a very simple program. That's the 3 steps on what I do to get money. Why do I like luncheons? They're quick and simple. I can leverage my time by talking to everybody at once. And it's a more intimate setting. There's only 2 reasons to have a luncheon. One is, now don't nuts this up, because what you want to do is you want to talk first and eat second. Don't mess that up. Talk first and then eat. Because what they do is they'll be sitting at a table and they want to carry on a conversation with somebody there. And what'll happen is they'll get peer confirmation that what you just talked about is great, and the conversion rate goes through the roof. That's exactly what happens. So you get a better conversion rate because you get peer confirmation because they're sitting across the table from somebody and they're talking about you. So you just get done talking, they go to a table to eat, and boom, and you get money. Now, I believe in systems. I think you picked up on that when I talked to you about that guy that bought me 21 properties in a short amount of time. I do that for for getting lenders too. I created a checklist. And this checklist is used throughout the United States, Canada, Australia, some other foreign countries, and it's used right in your backyard because I got students right where you're at. And it makes it incredibly simple to hold a one-on-one or a group meeting. And that's what the checklist is all. See, I did it in my very first luncheon because I thought I'd have luncheons every month for the rest of my life. And I didn't know after a couple of luncheons, I'd have $1 million. In fact, I've got students doing better than that. Think about that. Step 3 is they pass or play. Now, what happened is in that first luncheon, I said I fell on my sword. What happened was I said to them when I got to the last slide, the 37th slide, I said, let's have lunch. The problem with that is they needed some direction from me and I needed feedback from them, and neither one of us got it. And so in my second luncheon, I said, I want you to get in the packet that I gave you, and on the left-hand side, I want you to pull out this form and fill it out, and I'll be at the back and I'll collect them and we'll have lunch. Now, here, I want you to envision that you are standing between them filling this form out and the food. And as they drift by you, they give you this. To get to the food, they got to give you this. And so what will happen to you, though, is you will be so compelled, you will not help yourself. You'll go to the bottom to add up how much money they gave you, okay? And imagine that you thumb through that form and you find out that you have just amassed $650,000. Would that help you? It gives you a chunk of money. Now, I want you to do this next. On that $650,000, all right, I want you to up the ante. And here's how I do it. You want to write these words down. If I find a deal worth X, should I call you? If I find a deal worth X, should I call you? So what you would say is, if I find a deal worth 1.3 million, should I call you? And you will be amazed at how many people say yes, just by you using that right there. I had one show up my mailbox a while back, and then I brunched with Fred. Fred's one of my private lenders, and he had 3 guys sitting across the table, and he wanted to introduce us to each other. And halfway through that brunch, the guy in the middle slid that form across the table. I didn't even know he had it. Fred gave it to him, and the guy wanted in. Pretty cool way to find a lender. How'd you like to do a luncheon? Would you feel with a system like this, you could get up and speak to a small group of people? I would hope so. When I ask people in a room, I'll get 85% of the folks to raise their hands. Some people be raising both their hands. And let's go the other way. Would you feel uncomfortable standing up in front of 20 people because you're more afraid of public speaking? You know, and I see that, I see people start to put their hand up, and they'll take their other hand, put it down, push it back down. They don't want to do that. What's a logical thing to do? It's just do a one-on-one. My students are amassing millions of dollars by doing one-on-one. I understand some of you might be anxious about talking to somebody about money, but you could just hand them what I call an audio business card. I'll show you one here in a minute. Or you could just send them a digital audio. On this audio business card, this box you see over there has got a CD in there. You've got duplication rights on that. It sells the private lender concept for you. And how's it do that? Well, I hired a radio talk show host. Why would I do that? It's because of their voice. And people want to hear that, and they're compelled to continue to listen to their voice. And so rather than my voice, I had a radio talk show. I gave him a script, and he put together a 22-minute audio. Now, the first portion of that talks about what private lenders are, what private money lenders are. And then the last portion of that, where you see down there on that 22-minute audio, part 1 and part 2, is why they should loan you money. This is my favorite way to get money. How would you like to just email out an audio, have somebody listen to it, and give you money? I'm not meant to be a speaker, not at all, but I've raised millions and millions of dollars. It's because the system I developed works so well. It put my presentation on autopilot, and I just had to read the words, and the words did the work for me. Or I can hand out a pamphlet. I got a special report that it has 12 questions and answers. There's the typical 12 questions and answer that a group of 100 private lenders would come up with. You know, one private lender might ask want 2 questions and not care about the rest. Somebody else might have 3. But if you have a group of people like 100, these are the top 12. So they resonate as you put them out there. A special report, and as they got a table of contents, they can read one. They go over to that page, they read that paragraph or half a page, whatever it is, and it moves them more closer to loaning you money. Or how about the audio that I just talked about that's professionally done? That's a killer audio. Can you see yourself doing that? Just sending out an audio or sending out a special report? That's how easy it is on getting private lenders, okay? Here's how to ask Uncle Joe for money. You want to take a screenshot of that. These are the words I want you to use. Now, I'm going to edit this a little bit to help you out. But these are words I learned early on. This is, by the way, what is this for? This is to figure out whether somebody is broke or if they got money. So you say to somebody, do you have IRA or investment capital that's not currently earning a secured high rate of return? You have IRA or investment capital that's not currently earning a secured high rate of return. Now, I'd make one change on this, and I want to point out two items though. One change is, if I said investment capital to my mom, even though she's a brilliant lady, actually just came out with a new book, investment capital, my mom would glaze over. So I would insert bank CD. I think you'll hit a home run there. Do you have IRA or a bank CD that's not currently earning a secured high rate of return? Now, on the word secured with a D, you're going to have lenders come to you and say, is my money secure? Now look, you can't mislead a lender, and we all know real estate is risky. Now, we don't feel that way because we're experts in the field, but you know, the market can change, something you don't have control on. You have to do this. You have, if they say, well, is my money secure? I want you to come back and say, well, we all know real estate is risky, so I can't promise that, but your money is secured with a mortgage, a promissory note, hazard insurance, lender, title insurance. Okay? Got to lien on the property. So always put a D on there. Can't say the word guarantee, can't say low risk. All of those are no-nos because of what I just said. Location, location, location. One-on-one meeting. If you're going to meet somebody one-on-one, I don't like to do it in their home unless it's mom or somebody like that. I want you to go to a neutral location, like a restaurant, the library, someplace where you can sit down, go through some slides on your computer, and just do a one-on-one, or your office. Group meeting, just don't have karaoke going on next door. How do I know that one? Been there, done that. Now, who are not your prospects? Red flags, stay away here. People that want to visit your property before they will lend. They are trying to vet you. That's not what this is all about. You want somebody that trusts you and will loan you money. People want points and loan fees, run. That's not who we're doing business with. I want it to us set the rules, not somebody else. People, not institutions, are our prospects. People have excess capital. They got to hit your minimum. And you're going to have to come up with that tonight. Come up, can you change it tomorrow? Yes. Can you change the next day? Yes. But come up with a minimum out there that you feel comfortable with. And primarily middle class folks. It's not all millionaires. You know, I've had them. Your posture is some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. This is very important. I want you to get your posture correct. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Move on. Don't beg, don't plead, don't even ask twice. Get out and tell people you pay a high rate of return and move on. Huge tip, when you borrow from the right type of lender, you get to make the rules and things go smoothly. Anything else just isn't worth it. My basic rules is lenders do not approve my purchases. High dollar lenders don't get a higher rate, and second mortgages don't get a higher rate. You're borrowing money to buy a property, you're putting a mortgage on the property, and when it sells, you're paying it back with money with interest. You keep it simple. You aren't selling shares in your company. And just a friendly reminder here, in that chat box, don't forget to put your questions in there, and I'll take care of you here in a little bit. The best benefit is you can do more deals and more profitable deals using private lenders. Think about that. More deals, more profitable deals, because you got the flexibility of using private lenders. Think about when I showed you mom how easy it was. We had a little conversation. She was elated because she's going to get a high rate of return. That's the other thing. I want you to focus on the return, not on your deal. You get so lathered up, me too, on a deal that you want to tell the world about it, okay? We were talking about deals for everybody got on. And so what happens is The people we're looking for are folks out there that got money and want to get a high rate of return. So ride that horse, stay there. Now, this is a snapshot of USA Today, America's newspaper, on the Thursday paper on the green money tab, the green money section. If you go to the front page of that section, the bottom left-hand corner, you will get this snapshot of average CD rates. Average CD rates. It doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't come out every week, but it comes out a couple or more. I got an error there on the 1 year, and that shows a 0099. That's just a hair below 1%. Now, when I looked at it here in March, it was 0076. The lowest I've seen it is 0017. But let's take that 0076. If somebody has $100,000 on a bank CD and they lock it in for a year at 0076, which is what it was in March, after a year, they're going to get $760. That is horrible. And then they got to pay taxes on it. Can you imagine that? $760 after a year? Now you can come along and let's say you offer 5% to somebody. Now I want you to take the 5% and divide 0076 into that and see how many multiples you get. It's more than 5. See how many multiples you get on that. Yes? It is. This is pathetic. This is why you are so important to people out there, because you can offer them 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8% if you want to go that high. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy on me. I'm painting a picture here like a sandbox. You can paint outside the lines, but don't get crazy on this, because when the market goes up, it always goes up and goes down. When it goes up, where are you going to have to go? Okay. Stay in the ballpark. Also, I got told by my lenders many years ago that when I started out at the going rate, which is 15, which seems crazy right now. But what happened was I got feedback from my lenders after a few years that 15% was too good to be true. And so I lowered my interest rate to make them happy. Just a great business. I lowered it to 10 and 12%. 10% if they do monthly payments, like mom. 12% if they'd let the money accrue and they got paid when I got paid, which is when I sold the property. I only had two ways there, not 3 like I do now. I never thought anybody would pick 12%. I thought everybody wanted, like my mom, monthly payments, like on the CDs. Half the folks will go no monthly payments. And if you so desire, 100% will do it. You just don't have the other options. Just tell them you got one option and they'll go for it. Let's see about CDs here. Let's take that 0099 up to 2%. This is still pathetic. You could go 2, 3, 4 times higher than that. Just think about that. Just think about that. How the stock market, here's how it worked for me a few years back. And then my favorite way of lending way back when was, let's see how that worked for Alan. Let's talk about you. Real estate at 8%, that's $8,000 a year. The issue is this. They know about CDs, stock market, or like I did the lottery, okay? But they don't know about how to invest for high rates of returns in real estate. That's where you and I come in. That's what I teach you, okay? Look, you can save the deal with private money. Wholesale deals, like I explained to you, where you got a safety net out there, subject to, if they won't play, you just fund it and pay cash. And you can, if they do, you can use the money for curb appeal. If short sale, I'm going to show you one of mine that I paid all cash for it, and then I don't have to worry about trying to find a seller or a buyer right away. Retail, you use the money for the rehab overruns or extended costs. Airbnb, which are hot right now. Hey, I talked about hard money lender. There's Henry Grant right there in the white shirt. He's a hard money lender, and he's one of my students. And you can see how happy his family is. That's his family there, all smiling, and that's because Hedwig's got a lot of money. He's got $7 million of private money with my system. Think about that. And he has real estate. And he also has hard money business. And I was up in Minnesota, and I ran into Hedwig. He lives up there. And he, as I was coming into the place, he come up, shook my hand, heard I was coming. He said, "I'm so happy. I want to tell you what I've done with your system, da, 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 da." And then what he did was as I was getting introduced to go on stage. He grabbed the mic and went up and in front of 215 folks told everybody how I had changed his life. Okay. So just a different avenue, a different stream of money. Would you like the ability to make offers with confidence out there and have pride in yourself? You know, you're not taking advantage of anybody out there. They need you worse than you need them. Think about the good you're doing to help people to want to retire. The person that wants to retire, they wonder whether they can afford to eat, and will they need need to be a Walmart greeter, and can they stay retired? Think about that. It's about helping the folks that can't get a decent yield on their money. That's where you come into play. They're getting a 0079 on a bank CD, and they don't know where else to go. There's millions of them out there. You know, there's several ways to get money. The bank, CD, the bank way, or the way my mom did, where she could write a check. People that can lend money on self-directed IRAs. I want to talk about them for a minute. A lot of my lenders have, over the years, have IRAs. You can triple their return. You can't lend to yourself, child, or parent, so you can't lend up and down the family chain your IRA money, but you can, brother and sister. And you're creating, in my words, your own private bank. How would you like to have your own bank? Think about having a plethora of lenders out there ready and chomping at the bit to loan you money. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and order up money. Here's what the Wall Street Journal said. Through a little known tool known as a self-directed individual retirement account, individuals can pursue a wide variety of investments from real estate to businesses. Now at least several thousand people are trying to goose their retirement savings by using self-directed IRAs to invest in mortgages. It goes on. Typically, IRA investors aren't looking to back 30-year conventional mortgages. More often, they make loans with terms lasting from 3 months to a few years to fixer-uppers, small-scale developers, or families who are relocating and need a bridge loan between home sales. They normally find borrowers through an informal network of real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and Allen Cowgill. Okay, I made the last part up, but you get the idea. Here, I want you to write this down. If you know somebody that has a 401k and they have quit, retired, or gotten laid off, quit, retired, or gotten laid off, write those 3 words down. Quit, retired, or gotten laid off. They can take that 401k money and roll it over into a self-directed IRA. Now, in that IRA, they got this big chunk of money, and they want to live off this IRA, so they're pulling money out every month to live off of, let's say, if they quit working. But now they got this big chunk and they want to make it grow. That's where we come in. They don't know what to do with it. This is the flood of money I was talking about. I went from a trickle to a river to a flood. When I hit this, when I hit 401k money and tapped into that, I got a flood of money. And I tell you this because you could start there, right? No monthly pay, and they don't need monthly payments. Now, if that's the only way you pay, if you're doing a 40-unit apartment complex and you're going to need monthly payments, both in and out, then that's your program, and they'll go with that. But if you don't need monthly payments, if you're doing a buy, fix, sell, these are the folks for that too. Let me tell you about Aunt Mary, a fictitious lady. They're out there. You'll recognize that. But she saved all of her life, and she's up to $500,000. She's an old lady, and the current CD rate is what? At 0099, 1%. Okay, which means for that $500,000, she's getting $5,000 plus her Social Security check. Right? That's pretty pathetic. Now what happens is you come along. And you say, hey, we can take that $500,000 and I can pay you 6%. And Aunt Mary jumps for joy. Now she's getting $30,000 a year plus her Social Security. You just changed her life. She's looking at $50,000 a year now. Look at that. Can you see the difference? Think about that. Right there, if she's making $20,000 on her Social Security, now she's making $25,000. you just jumped this way up. Would you feel good helping her? Well, I would think so, if you got a heart. Forget banks. Would you like to do deals and never talk to a bank? They suck. Banks are providing an opportunity you are providing an opportunity that's amazing to get folks their money that banks won't give them. For an example, banks charge 29% interest on your credit cards, and then they give you 0.29 on your CDs, yes or yes. That's 1/100th of the 29%. That's where they're getting rich. Instead, you can help your friends and family make the money they need for retirement, and you get rich too. It's a win-win-win. Look, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned investor, do you think acquiring private lenders could help your business? I would hope so by now. And you seasoned investors, can you imagine the wealth building opportunities that you've lost over the years because you failed to get private lenders? Let me ask you a question. How many more deals are you going to let slip through your fingers and lose altogether because you failed to get private lenders after today? And I want you to use these terms, ground floor. Just tell your potential lenders that you're looking for folks that want to get in on the ground floor. That has a couple effects. One is it sounds like it could go away. The other thing is people like the idea of getting in on the ground floor. And they will see the positive opportunities because it's real estate. The other thing on you could get to the place where you don't need any more money, that you got so much private money that you don't need any more, and then future lenders are left out. During the loan process with a bank or hard money lender, you're waiting to be approved. It makes you feel like you're begging for money. Let me show you a better way. Here's that property I told you about. I did a short sale on. There's a pond out front here. It's on 5 acres. There's a pole barn and a stream across the back of this property, and it's in foreclosure. It's a $200,000. I know in your area it's probably $700,000 home or more. And so, well, even more than that, yeah, million plus. So it's $128,000 mortgage. They are pursuing the foreclosure. I talked to them. They said, if you want to cure this, we need $14,000 and we'll stop it. Well, that didn't make it very good. Had a second mortgage and they're in trouble. They're scratching and clawing, trying to save anything. When I got done negotiating with them, they said for a measly $4,400, they would wipe a $44,000 off the books. I had built in my profit right there. I needed $18,400. I picked up the phone, called up a private lender. They funded it. I cured the first. I wiped the second out, put a new second on there, and I walked away 3 months later with $43,214. $43,214. All I had to do was flap my lips. I had $0 of my own money in it. Just imagine being the loan approval committee. I was the loan approval committee on that, wasn't I? I saw the deal, wanted the deal, called up a private lender, funded the deal. It's over. You're in control. Just imagine the power of that statement in your life. Focus on the interest they earn, not the deal. I had said that sooner. I'm just reinforcing that now. One of the biggest items that can cripple your business, whether you're a beginner or seasoned investor, is poor cash flow. This property that you see here, this lady wanted all cash for it. Not unusual. But I saw it had a first mortgage and a low interest, less than what I'm paying my private lenders. And I wanted her to leave that out there so I didn't have to bring in a private lender. And I could bought it for all cash. But it made sense to me to leave that first mortgage out there, and then I'd make payments on it. She said she'd do that. She was a desperate seller. She said she'd do that if I'd give her walk-in money of $39,000. So I picked up the phone. I ordered up, not 39. Listen to this. Follow the math. I ordered up 50,000. She got her 39, and I got $11,000. I want you to write this down. Always borrow extra. You see, we're taught in this business that when we negotiate the deal, we earn our money, but we don't get it until we sell the property on monthly payments. In my world, I get it on both ends, when I buy and when I sell. I always want you to take a little bit out on the front end, leave the bigger chunk for the back end. So I took out 11,000. I used 3,000 in repairs. I had 8,000. What can I do with it? Anything I want. But it makes sense to make the payments on the house until I get this thing handled. Imagine skyrocketing your cash flow by getting some of your profit when you buy. Wouldn't you like that? Get some of your profit when you buy. Always do that with private money. Let me pull back the curtain. The lender, her name's Libby. She was loaned $50,000 on it. She's the employee. She's a mom of one of my employees, had the 401k, rolled it over into a self-directed IRA, and she agreed to do no monthly payments on that $50,000. Okay. I walked away with $45,900 on this in 3 months. Credibility kit. I have a credibility kit. I would encourage you to get a credibility kit because private lenders loan you money based on the fact that they trust you. Here's the makeup of mine: a page on me and a page on the company. Page on me, page on the company. I have testimonials in there. I have highlights of my life, and I have certificates. What's a certificate? Well, we got a Saturday workshop coming up. And in that Saturday workshop, what happens is you could create a certificate that you went to a meeting on private money, and you get the certificate paper at office stores or out on Amazon. Make that up, put it in there, and just think about filling your credibility kit with certificates, okay, to show your education. Introduce your dream team. The special report I talked to you about, I always put that in there too. Adds weight to it. How about urea? Massachusetts, how about that? And then target a property on the cover. I'd have that. What business you in? Here's 15 benefits of having private money. Just think about these. Unlimited funds. You can't get all the money out there. That's pretty cool. Speed to buy, and there's people out there wanting to throw money at you. Cash flow, you borrow that extra money that I call contingency money. No monthly payments if you so desire, and you get to make the rules. There is no credit checks. It saves you money. You make more money because at the closing, the cheapest way to do a closing is with all cash. Flexibility, I like to pay on the 15th of the month. You do deals you couldn't do any other way. You get some of your profit when you buy. It's cheaper than having a partner. You could fund the purchase of defaulted paper. You can buy at a discount because cash is king, and you can have 2 streams of income or more if you so desire. Once you learn how, whenever you need more money to buy a property, you plug in your system and more money comes out. Don't prejudge folks. Don't prejudge folks. Some of the people I think was broke, that they turn around and loan me big chunks of money. They will test you, and when they do that, we're going to up the ante. Yes, remember the 650,000? We upped it. And they become your best sales folks. One private lender will bring you 2. 2 will bring you 4. You up the ante on every one. Can you see how you can get so much money? You can't spend it all. It's exactly how your life's going to go. Now imagine your private lenders bringing you more private lenders. Blanche, one of my lenders, she put money down, and I painted that house, put shutters on it, put a furnace in it, sanded the floors, and I walked away with $34,747.19 after I paid Blanche out every dime she was due. And then she thanks me for taking her money. I appreciate the opportunity to invest and earn above average interest. God bless Blanche. How do I use private money? I'm going to blow through these real quick. This property here was bought for Wendy, the daughter of the parents that live over that truck, and this is the parents' land. Wendy got married. They got a divorce. Parents now had this house for a year, couldn't move it, gave it to me. This is a free house. Now, there was a mortgage on it, but I didn't have to put any money into it. Here's the before. I'm going to show you the after picture. I painted the sky blue. Okay, joke. Put shutters on it, stretched the carpet, and I put this fence up on the side, hiding an ugly tank. Now I got an ugly house. What do you do with that? Look at the doors and the window. Boom. Sided it. Here's 17 ways that private lenders are good for you because it puts you in control of your financing. If that's the only thing that private lenders do, that's enough, but it goes on. It fits with all types of real estate deals. You do deals, banks and hard money lenders are going to turn you down, but private lenders won't. They have no monthly payments. You learn, it's easiest because you learn my techniques one time, you use it for the rest of your life. Your funds show up with just a phone call and you have an army of lenders begging you to take their money, and you are no longer begging for money after tonight. It's the cheapest because it's avoid hard money lender fees. You avoid padded fees. You buy property at a discount because cash is king. And you'll be able to close deals because the most expensive funding you will ever have is when you can't close. It's the safest because you quit your job and you still get funding. You got poor credit, you still get funding. You borrow extra so you run out of cash, and you avoid the embarrassment of losing a great deal because you can't close. Imagine closing with a realtor and you can't close because the bank backs out on you. That's the easiest, cheapest, and safest. There's no other funding source that can match all 4. And I just gave you 17 solid reasons on why you need to embrace private lender concept. It's revolutionary our business. Imagine having $1 million a phone call away. What would that do for you? Let me tell you about Robert Anderson. He's retired, one of my students. He's $53,000 in debt. He's struggling. Married to Rosa and wanted to buy this apartment complex, but he couldn't even afford the closing cost. They were asking $2.3 million, but he got my system, got a private lender. He cut $500,000 off of that because cash is king. Offered 1.8 and they took it. Private lender structures, no monthly payments. They sold it 7 months later. Private lender walked away with a check, $270,000, which is great because they were the catalyst to make this happen. Here's a picture of Robert. He said, I couldn't have done this deal without Alan's system. He walked away from this deal, his first deal, with 1.2 million in profit. Can you imagine that happening to you? How would you feel? It was his first deal. He did it in Florida, and now he lives on a 27-acre estate in North Carolina. Last time I talked to him, he was doing 5 more deals. Is that typical? No. Typical result, people, if you don't open up the system, you don't get anything. But you got to work it. What some of you are thinking is I'll just go ask Uncle Joe to be my lender. But what happens if you go out and ask Uncle Joe, and Uncle Joe asks you a question you can't answer? You know, why are you just getting caught off guard with questions you can't answer? And without the right approach, you could be dismissed as a fly-by-night. I want you to nail it coming out of the chute. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Systems, you need a system. Memory's not enough. We forget half within 24 hours. You know that. You need the exact system that Troy Wilkinson, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, and Robert Anderson on the wisdom that he had to do the deal of the century. It's a very simple and easy to use system. I want to introduce you to my millionaire system. There's 3 steps on this, 3 legs on this. One is how to attract and convert people into private money lenders. That's called my premium system. The next one is the easy ways to management. I call this my management system, my real estate management system, and the SEC knowledge, okay, the education. These are the 3 legs. I want to talk to you about them right now. So here's the premium system. It's powerful web-based with forms with autofill. I have 24 forms, and here's what happens is I had a webmaster create a website. You go out to the website, you fill in a template, you hit the enter button, and in less than 10 minutes, all 24 forms are filled out with your information, and you're ready to go find private lenders. One of those 24 forms is my 37 slides. Imagine being ready in 10 minutes to go find lenders because all the forms are filled out for you, and you don't have to spend hours doing that like you do in other systems. This one here, I give it to you right up front. You get my $1 million presentation that I talked about, all the advertising, complete scripts, a special report that I talked about. All the work's done for you, and you're ready to go in 10 minutes. You can explode your money supply with these surefire marketing tools, ultramagnetic ads for you to raise millions of dollars, trifold brochure to establish credibility, and phone script to excite and reassure prospective lenders. A software and speed automation, you get my 24 proprietary forms. You also get the forms for your state. It'll be in that template. You put your state in there, and you get the forms for your state. And all the audios are now digital. After you do that template, you go to this page. The first red arrow is the 24 forms all filled out. The second one is going to have your state on there. That's all the state forms. The third one is all the audios that are digital. And then down at the fifth one there, the fifth arrow is the management system that I'm going to show you next. Just imagine having all the forms done for you in 10 minutes. Also with the audios, you get it on that template that I just showed you there in the website, but you also get it on this thumb drive. And that's inside the pocket in the premium system. You get a quick start manual and audio. It gives you insights of what I did behind the scenes and advertising secrets, and it answers some key questions. Also, inside the cover, I want you to use your phone and go to this QR code and snap that, and you get a video, a quick start video my office manager did for you. If you don't have one of those QR things, just there's a login right below this, okay? This private lending learning library is on 8 audios, and you use it at any of your digital items, your phone, your iPad, your computer. You'll be able to answer the toughest lender questions with confidence, and you'll know the right way to position yourself to overcome lender skepticism and win their trust. You get my audio business card. You would expect that, right? Here I'm showing it with the case. Everything that goes with that, the guts of it, you get, and I also give it to you digitally, so you can just email people. How about the credibility kit? Well, I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. I want you to mimic me, and I've got it all done for you. Gil Mack here calls himself the millionaire in the making. He says, how are yours specific and complete and goes step by step, just the way us reptile brains need it. Not only am I going to do a luncheon, I'm training a staff member to do it as well. Thanks for the confidence boost and the tools to work with. I hear that from all my students, that confidence, it comes through in virtually every testimonial. And here's Tony Braddock. He's doing one-on-ones. He said, I've raised private money from one-on-ones. I quit my Fortune 500 six-figure income job and 70-hour work week and purchased a 75-foot yacht. It's truly been awesome and changed my life forever. Now, let's get into the wealth management system. This is step 2. This is the second leg. There was a vacuum in our industry, and I recognize it, and I filled the vacuum with this. There wasn't anybody else teaching this. The wealth management system was developed because of the success my students were having acquiring private lenders. They had to play the role of a bank, so I became a recluse for 2 months, and I put this system together for them. Here's a few questions I was getting, which triggered me that we had a situation here. What documents the lenders get? How do they handle IRA money? What are the closing costs? And when do the things start and stop the interest rate? And it went on and on and on. And I realized that I had to fix the problem. This program answers them all in a very simple and straightforward and systematic way. Here's what you get. You get the manual, the essential guide to managing private money manual, 6 powerful audios so you can handle the private lender process with ease, and IRA information. Remember the pot of gold? Remember the pot of gold? IRA information to include key documents, forms, and reports. Some of what you'll be able to achieve with this system is it prevents dispute with your listers. In all my couple decades of doing this, I've never had a dispute, never. And that's where I want you at. I want you to never have it. And this is the system that solves that. Right time and way to get money from your lender, streamline lender maintenance activities so they don't eat up your time, keeping a positive cash flow, and correctly close escrow so the lenders can reinvest their money, and the ins and outs of setting up and using IRAs for your lender's benefit. So I have it all taken care of on what I talked about earlier. Both systems have been newly updated. Third leg, compliance information for real estate investing. On that one, I have 8 attorney-created audios. That's the third leg, okay? And the first audio is 12 questions and answers that you must know that are very simple, but very clear, and he was wonderful on the audios. So if your time's worth $50 an hour, and then you go out and you spend 80 hours trying to figure this stuff out on your own, where are you going to go? On the internet? You're going to get bad information. And then 100 hours on putting together a presentation, that's how many I've got in that. You have to come up to that level. Why would I spend that much time? Well, I was out of work. I had a negative $10,000 cash flow problem going on. I wanted to solve it, and the answer to the situation was that meeting coming up. I want to make sure the slides flowed and the words came in when they spoke to you, and I nailed it. I nailed it. And then you got to go test yours. Mine's tested throughout the United States, Canada, Australia. You have to spend time doing that. If you wing it on your own, I think it's a horrible choice to do that. In fact, you might never cross the goal line. My goal is you start getting private lenders in the next month or two. And SEC knowledge, you know, that's where you stroke a check. That adds up to 14,000. You know, that's huge. What is these systems of 3? These systems are $2,391 a la carte. The premium sells for $997. The wealth sells for $797, and the 8 SEC audios are $597, which is a steal compared to what I paid that attorney. So they add up to $2,391. Okay. Now you learn all the ins and outs of using private money lenders on your own in those 80 hours. Why would you? I've already got it done for you. Why would you? Now on this $2,391, you get it all today for a dirt cheap $997. I give it all to you for $997. It is a steal, and I want you to get it tonight. Troy Wilkinson, I told you about him. Think about what happened to Troy, where he was in the position that you're at right now, thinking about, well, you know, on this system. Troy, he said this. He gave me this email coming back in 20 days after I met him. He said, we're blown away by your program. Talk about a paradigm shift after, because he understood it. He said, after 20 minutes of presenting your private lending slide presentation in his office on our laptop, he interrupted and asked, what could you do with $1 million? None of us could sleep that night. I'll bet not. He got $1.4 million 20 days after meeting me. I'd love to get a testimonial like that from you. Think about that. How do you get it? How do you get started? You go to www.cowgill, Mass, MASSRE for real estate, .club. Now make sure you don't put .com in there or something. It's .club. www.massre.club. And let's get started right now. Go out there and just fill out the order form, click on it, and I will ship product tomorrow. I will ship the system to you tomorrow. You get it all. You get it all. You get all. There's 24 audios. You get the audios on that thumb drive I showed you. What it'll do for you is create the best funding for your business that you could ever have, a peace of mind, because money is a phone call away. That will just, you'll just love that. Build a business any size you want, create a flexible funding program, eliminates the fear of losing a deal. Have more time to do what you want because you're not waiting on a bank, hard money lender. Put your real estate funding in order for the first time ever. Everything you need to get private money, everything you need to get private money is in the millionaire system I just talked about. It is a complete system. I don't leave any stone unturned. Remember, I'm a systems guy, and this is a complete system for you to go get money. Here's why you ought to do it right now. This week, I'm giving away this. Number one is, for a handful of you, access to me. This is where I will give you a certificate where you will get my personal email, comes right to the computer I'm on right now, right to my smartphone, and you get 90 days of help. It starts when you want it to. So if you don't want to start it for 6 months, then fine. But when you're ready, I'm there to help you. Ted used it. He sent it to me. Put your phone number down, because a lot of times I'll just call you like I did Ted. He says, what do I say to my lender? I said, you already got it. It's in the premium. He says, we're leaving right now in 15 minutes. I don't have time, man. Tell me what to say. I told him what's in the premium system. And on the way to the airport, he got $500,000. And it got him out of his job and got him in apartment complexes, which is where he wanted to go. You get answers to questions take you years to learn on your own. You'll be able to move fast on deals because I'm in your corner, and access to me is restricted. If you don't get your hands on the hotline certificate, then you're working with my staff. They're great people. My office manager's been with me 13 years. But if you want to work with me, then you need the hotline certificate. Now it's limited because I speak all the time, and I'm speaking a lot right now. I spoke 45 times all over the nation last year to give you some idea. I can only take the first 2 folks. I can only take the first 2 folks, so you need to jump out there right now and you get me. I got a second bonus. You all get this one. This is a hot list of private lenders. This is where I send you to in front of the premium. I'll put a certificate for the 2 or for everybody. And what'll happen is you go out and you can sift and sort private lenders right in your backyard. These are warm private lenders that have just loaned money. We scrape the U.S. every month and put the new lenders in there. You can save the searches as you see, and you can mail to them. The letter's already done for you. So super bonus number 4, it says, it's really 3 down at the bottom. These are upgrades for life. That's my life. So if something changes in the system, you get the new stuff for free. Okay. And then I just put this in for you folks. I have a live virtual event. Now this is a business event. Okay. It's all about how to run your business. It's not dedicated to private money at all. It is February 18th through the 20th. It is $2,995. It's what I've sold it for over the years. This is a killer boot camp. I'm going to give it to you for free. I'm going to give it to you for free. I believe in systems. I created 19 checklists for my systems. If I got 19, you ought to have 19 in your business. You will learn how to do this and put things together, policies and procedures and stuff nobody else is teaching at my level. So you get a huge, huge $3,000 bonus. You know, if all this did was make your business profitable, more profitable, give you a gentle kick in the butt, enable you to do your first deals, beginners, or give you access to millions of dollars, which is what it's all about, would it be worth it? Heck, yes. The real question is, it worth the gamble of a few minutes of your time to check it out? If it does even half of what I've claimed today, it will pay for itself on the first deal many, many times over. Look, you got 7 days. What will happen is we'll ship tomorrow. It'll hit your doorstep at some point pretty quick. When it hits your doorstep, you got 7 days to check it out. If it's not for you, let me know. I'll give you all your money back. It is simple. But I'll tell you, it's rare that I get a refund. And we'll give you a prompt and courteous refund. So you got everything to gain, nothing to lose. Check it out. You'll fall in love with it, like most of my students. All the risk is on me. Even if you do return it, you get to keep all the bonuses. You got 2 options. Do it yourself, and you'll probably never cross the finish line. It took me years, decades to have the knowledge that I've got. embrace my system. Take action. Take action right now. The future's waiting for you to invest in the system right now. Well, what do? You get it for $9.97, which is a steal. And imagine having all the money to do what you want, go where you want, and get what you want. Go to Mass RE Club, Mass RE Club, and let's get started on this. Go out there right now. Click down on your browser. Go to massre.club, and let's get going on this. I'll ship tomorrow. Hey, Mike, you out there?
Yes, sir.
All right. You got any questions in the chat box?
Hang on a second. Well, Leanne said, do you provide money to other investors like us?
You know, Leanne, I get asked that every week, but no, I'm not done that. I'll tell you why, Leanne. Early on, I had, opportunity to start jumping in on stuff like that. And I got thinking about it. I thought, and with people that I, didn't know very well, I thought if this thing goes south and it reflects back on me, then I'd have a bad reputation. And I cherish my reputation. I got one of the best in the nation in real estate. And so I've never done that, but thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. My job is to teach you to fish. My job is to give you the tools. The key things on the system I just showed is it's broken into 3 parts. I mean, you get the audios and you get the manuals for training, but the forms are what's so critical, because you get my $1 million presentation and all that kind of stuff. So I teach you to fish. What else you got, buddy?
That's it.
That's it. All right.
I guess you've done so well that everybody's all set.
I never know. I never know. So they just want to get to the debate. I know what's going on. So
hey, Alan, as kind of a testimonial, I've got to say that I've met you a few times at different mid-years for folks that run groups like this. And yeah. I've never heard a bad word about you.
That's unusual groups, in our industry. I appreciate you saying that, Mike. Thank you.
All these other groups, we have a good, the bad, and the ugly, and we rate experts, and you always get very high marks.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
There's a question. Okay, someone said thank you. And Leanne said, when is the Saturday session scheduled?
I think it's the 31st, Halloween, isn't it? Let me look on. Is that right?
If folks go to the homepage, massrealestate.net, they'll see there's a sign-up button there. It's $29 for members and $49 for non-members.
Yeah, Mike, I think anybody that buys tonight ought to get in for free. If they get my system, let them in for free.
Even if they're non-members?
Anybody that buys tonight, they ought to get in for free.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Vincent asked, is your process to get a list of lenders who are ready to go before you find the deals? Now, that's the chicken and the egg question. That comes up.
Yeah, often. that's a great question, though. I got that question. If I assume Ron LeGrand, Mike.
Oh yeah, he ran a group in Jacksonville when I started running a group up here.
Oh wow, that was a while. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Ron LeGrand is known as the guru of what we're doing right now of getting creative real estate and stuff. And what happened was I was on a conference call with Ron, and the guy that was orchestrating it, just like Mike is here, was recording it. I never did get a recording of it, but Ron said, and I want you to think about this. He said, I think you ought to go get the deal, and it's going to make you pucker so much that then you'll be forced to go get private lenders. Well, I don't like that pucker stuff. And I went the other way, and it was from my heart. I said, I would go get a private lender, and then you've got the confidence to go make the offer. And we went back and forth on it for, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. I don't know who won, but he had his position, I had mine, and I think you ought to get private lenders now. And what you do is, let's say for an example is you get a private lender, and they say, well, I'm gonna loan you $400,000. Immediately, what I want you to do is up the ante. Say, if I find a deal worth $800,000, should I call you? And wherever you end up on this thing, And then what happens is wherever you make a deal, then I want you to do this. I want you to say, congratulations, you made a wise decision. And here's how it works. You don't send the money to me. I'm going to have you wire the company money to the company that I do business with, and in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll close and get your money on a deal. Does that work for you? They always say yes. Okay. Now, if you get down the road 3 weeks and you don't have anything lined up, then you got to call that lender up and say, hey, look, I don't want you to wondering what's going on, but I haven't found anything out there that looks good for you and I. Pull you two together, right? Make it a team. Just like I got club at the end of this on there. I don't see anything out there that I'm happy with for you and I just need to have you hang in there for another month, and we'll see what we can get going. Okay. So that's the way I handle it. And that's the way I teach my students. And I just taught you a part of the path to wealth that I'm going to teach on the evening meeting, or on the Saturday meeting. But you need to get my system tonight and go to Mastery RE Club tonight, so you're trained and I can take you to a higher level when you get to us on the 31st. I think I got the right.
Alan,
Yeah.
My 2 cents on buying properties. I have a tendency, now that I have the money and I have the self-directed IRA for bigger deals, to make offers that are less than I would have made before, because I'm in a walk-away position now.
You are.
So if people think that, they can get access to all this money and they might overpay and get in trouble, I doubt it. Once you've got that dough, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. You're exactly right.
A couple more questions.
Sure.
Thanks for a well thought out presentation from Steve Elliott. He's a big hitter in the group. Then Vincent says, how much detail do you give the lenders about the property?
I don't, man. I'm glad
you a couple of times in the presentation.
Right, but this is such an important point. You see, what happens as real estate investors, we want to tell the world about our deal. Okay, you spend your life learning how to buy stuff. You spend your time putting the deals together. You're proud of yourself when you get the first one nailed, and they all get easier after that. But I don't tell them. Here's the deal. If you're dealing with somebody that's a real estate investor, you got to tell all about the deal. But the people I like you to do business with is somebody that's not in real estate, like my mom and like all the other lenders. It's rare that I get another real estate investor in there, but it happens. But I want you to focus on the dollars, because that's what they care about. That's where their pain is. Their pain is a double O nothing on a bank CD. You are the answer to that prayer. And what happens is you just got to get the word out. And what happens with my system, I give you every single tool and technique to go out and attract people into giving you money. Every single one. And we walk them right down the path on loaning money. And it's very simple. I mean, you just have a conversation with them. But going through me and my system, you know what to say, you know what to do, and you know when to do it. And that's what you're not getting anyplace else. Okay. And so to make it up yourself, you have to live it, and it'll take you a few years to figure it out. With mine, I got you up and going here in a few weeks. The first thing I want you to do, I want you to listen to the audios. And once you get to the end of the audios, the people that have my 90-day certificate, people that get that, then you can start asking me questions whenever you want. Starts whenever you want. But you got to do those audios first. Why? You got to do the premium audios first, because it takes your knowledge up to a higher level. And what I've found over the years, that a number of my students get their first private lender before they get to the 8th audio. That's how good my audios are. And so that's 8 of 24 audios, okay? But once you get through those, then you can start asking me questions. That way I don't have to answer all the questions that are already in the audios that you'll learn there, okay, in those first 8. And I take it from there, okay? So.
Alan, I can see where that would give people the confidence to move ahead. But I've got another question. Someone said, so then each private lender does not put a lien on a property, or do they? They just get the contract for the agreed upon interest rate?
Here's how it happens. Great question. Who did that? Thank you.
That's from owner to me
Owner?
privately.
Okay. Okay. Here's how it works out. First off, they don't send you the money. I want you to go to a formal closing, just like a bank. Okay. So they're going to send the money into the title company when you tell them to. Here in Ohio, we can close with attorneys. I don't know if you can do that out there, but you know, you send the money to, they send the money to the title company, and then you close. And when you close, they get a mortgage, a promissory note, hazard insurance, lender title insurance. One other thing I didn't have a chance to talk about, they get 5 items, is a disclosure statement. It's because I didn't want to get into too much detail on that tonight. I'm going to talk about it on Saturday. But on that disclosure statement, what I do is in the system, in the Millionaire system, I give you my disclosure statement as a fill in the blank. If you go to an attorney and do it from ground zero, it's going to cost you $1,500 to $2,000 to get it done. If you use mine as a fill in the blank, you still have to take it to an attorney to make sure you got the I's dotted and the T's crossed and it's good for your state. But that should be 1 hour of attorney time. It's not like you got to go from scratch. And so I give that to you. It's the one I use. It's the one my attorney created for me. And it's a fill in the blank now for you inside the system. And so they're going to get a mortgage, a promissory note, hazard insurance, lender title insurance, and a disclosure. And in what I just described, that mortgage is going to lean against the property. And you got the promissory note in there too. And so, yes, the money goes in from the lender. And then when you close to sell, the money goes back the way it came in. So if it came in through an IRA, it's going to go back to the IRA. If it came in through a person, then you know, like my mom, then it would go back to that person. Okay.
We've got a number of attorneys in Massachusetts. It goes to an attorney.
Okay.
And they work with title companies and they do the closings.
Yep. Here too.
I know you want to get going because there's
no,
important
I'm
program.
Good. I'll stay all night with you guys.
I think Guy Fieri has Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, a marathon on tonight. And I think Smokey and the Bandits on. And I know a lot of people want to catch up on those 2 shows.
There you go.
So a couple of questions. Let's see. Oh, Leanne asked when the Saturday session is. It's on October 31st. It's Halloween. It's 9 in the morning until 1 o'clock. I'm looking forward to that. And the folks that buy, you'll have to give me the list because then we'll do them for free.
They'll do them for free, right? On that, just so Leanne, just so you know how this is laid out. What I'm going to do is I will teach for the first hour and 30 minutes, hour and 40 minutes, and then I'm going to go for questions like we are right now, and then I'm going to take a 10-minute stretch break. All right, in case somebody wants to get something to eat or whatever, but 10-minute stretch break. And then I'll come back right at the end of that 10 minutes and I'll start right up. And at that instant, I'm going to get into the legal stuff. And I get into it in 2 levels. One is for your state and the other one is the federal. And I teach stuff that nobody else out there is teaching on this stuff. It'll be exactly what you can do out there. And you know, it's like a sporting event. If you any sporting event that you might love or have done, you get a rule book. Well, I taught you the rule book tonight. I'm going to teach you more rule book on Saturday morning. Okay. And then I shift into I teach you the fundamentals. I teach you the fundamentals tonight and the fundamentals first half Saturday. Then I also teach you the rule book. Just like any sporting event, you got the fundamentals and the rules. I give you both. It comes with private lending. It's the same thing. And the nice thing is the rules are simple. Rules are simple. The problem of it is nobody else is teaching it. And I was very lucky because I hired an attorney. It's very expensive, but I was very lucky because I got every state done. I got Canada done too. So, because I got students up in Canada. So I had him research that. So
I can recall I was on Big Pocket and somebody asked, they said, hey, what about this Alan Cowgill? You know, he couldn't possibly have covered all the SEC and the state rules. And the response was overwhelming. You've got a big following there because they practically flamed this guy saying that you've got them covered.
I got it covered.
Yeah.
I got it covered. And any state that I'm standing in, I can go over the rules. And it's a huge benefit to real estate investors. It's gigantic. It's
Hey, if
gigantic.
someone is fortunate enough to get your course tonight, the whole deal for $997, they'll be in an excellent position for the Saturday on the October 31st, won't they?
Yeah,
To
that's
pick
what
up
I was
even
trying to
more?
make a point of that. Maybe I didn't do a good job, but I'm glad you brought it up, Mike, because yeah, you get the system now. You'll be through it by the 31st, and maybe even talk to me if you're lucky enough to to get the certificate, a 90-day, and we'll be engaged and off to the races on this thing, in gear.
Well, I
So
know most of these people here, and I know what's going to happen. They're going to jump on this, take advantage of it, and they're going to say, wait a minute, why do I have to wait till February 18th to the 20th for boot camp? Doesn't he have a boot camp before that?
do I have a boot camp?
Isn't that what you said, February 18 to 20?
Oh, I have two boot camps. Okay. I have a boot camp on what I showed you tonight, which is a business system boot camp. It's about running a business. It does not include private money. I have a separate boot camp on private money.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I'll be candid. I mean, since you asked, you folks aren't going to believe this, but at that money boot camp, my private money boot camp, we raised private money in the first 24 hours. And over the lifetime of that event, we've raised over $500 million, and we're creeping up on $1 billion. That's in the first 24 hours. More money comes in throughout the boot camp. I cut it off at noon on day 2. And these are virtual events right now, 3-day virtual events. So what I did tonight, Mike, was something very rare. It's been years since I've done this. Is I gave your folks a $3,000 boot camp for free. But that boot camp is not private money, and I tried to be very clear on it. It's my business in a box boot camp. It's about running a business. It's the Achilles heel for real estate investors, because real estate investors, we go out, we get this information, get training, but we don't take our business to the level that we should as far as systems goes. And in corporate America, when I was in corporate America 25 years, I was put over 5 multi-million-dollar, multi-state, multi-plant implementation programs to implement systems in 3 different companies, Fortune 50, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. And in doing that, those businesses came out with a streamlined business. And one of the systems that I recommended, the company doubled their cash flow and tripled their pre-tax earnings in 1 year. So when I came over as a real estate entrepreneur, I realized I needed help on doing that. And just like in corporate America, when I would hire coaches in to help implement, I hired in a coach for me, and I hired in Michael Gerber, eMyth Academy.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a $10,000 a year program, to let you know how serious I was. A $10,000 a year program, and I was in it for 5 years. So I spent right under $50,000. I hung out with Michael for a couple of days out on a cliff at Laguna Niguel in California, and
I've been there.
he sat on a stool in the middle of the room. There's about 21 of us in the room, and I sat there and watched people surfing surfboards outside, but we're sitting in there, and he talked for 2 days, no notes. He's an incredible mind. And what happened was I implemented it obviously in my business, and I came out with a streamlined business, never thinking that I would teach it. I did it all for my own business. But along the way, I realized that there was a vacuum in our industry on this. And so I decided that I'd better get out and help people. And so I created this full-blown boot camp on business, on how to run your business in real estate. And I have people coming in that are have other things going on in their life, other businesses, and they'll use my systems in that business, even though it's not real estate related. That's how great that boot camp is. So I have 2, and tonight what I did was I gave everybody that buys the millionaire system, I gave everybody a business boot camp that they ought to crawl across broken glass to get to. It's that good. I mean, it's just damn good. So I hope folks take advantage. Get the Millionaire System and come to a $3,000 boot camp you got for free. But that's not a money boot camp. Just so everybody knows. I'll talk a little bit about that on the Saturday. Okay.
Okay. So the next time we see you will be on October 31st.
Yep.
It's a Saturday, 9 to 1.
Yeah. Let me add one thing, Mike. I forgot to do this. You know, I said I'd take questions halfway through. I also take questions at the 1 o'clock when we wrap it up, just like we're doing right now. And I've seen it sometimes that'll go for a half hour. So, what everybody just needs to know, I'm going to get all your questions answered there. And I'm going to give you, minute for minute, I'm told that I deliver as much or more training than anybody else out there in the time I got allotted. So, yeah.
2 quick questions. Leanne said, how does your system apply to Airbnbs? She was hitting home runs with that about a year ago. And I've been afraid to ask her how that's going. But knowing Leanne, she always lands on her feet.
Yeah.
I think she's probably still doing good with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, if you get out and you do an Airbnb, I mean, you know, how are you going to buy it? Well, to me, the easiest way to do it is do it with private money. Okay. And then you can structure the deal any way you want. You can amortize the loan, let it pay down over time, or you can walk in and, you know, with monthly payments and you know, and do them that way, however you want, on the 3 ways I recommended, and then pull your money back out and amortize it either through a lending institution. One of the things I've noticed in my business is I'll buy a property with private money, and then if I want to refinance it with a bank, they look at me as my private lender's competition, and they come right after that. I mean, it's very simple, you know, to refinance in that situation. So Airbnb is, you know, it just like going out and buying another one.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
Leanne, evidently she took advantage and bought one of your packages. She said, I misunderstood about the boot camp in the order. Can I add the boot camp afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if I got it right, if I understand it, right?
Yeah,
right.
I messed up when I ordered. I misunderstood because I thought you said the boot camp was included. I didn't realize it was a different one. So
yeah. On that page you went out to, Leanne, there is a red box below where you ordered.
Okay.
And on that red box, there's a little check box. If you click on that check box, it'll give you the option to get the whole shooting match. And then I can refund what you just did.
Oh, okay. So just make a second order and you'll refund the first one.
Yeah, and the second order is $14.97.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, you get
That's
the boot camp for $500. I'm getting criticized by other speakers, and I'm way too low. So
my daughter just came by. She says, "Cut him off, will you? He's going to call and kill you in the morning." Giving all this away. You may have met her. She comes up on all the mid-years.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Leanne, if you just go out and do that, I'll see it come through, and I'll refund the first one and then the $9.97, and then you'll get the whole shooting match.
That makes sense. That's good.
Yeah, and the next one is November, so you don't have to wait long.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like the first week, like 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make people aware of that, because if you come on the 31st and you decide to do something on the 5th of November, that doesn't give you much time.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good reason to get it now. So yeah, but that order form that you're at, Leanne, that's the same one that everybody will see on the 31st. Okay. And if you click that little magic box in there like you did, you'll see it $14.97. You can get it all.
But unless they do it today, they may not have access to your phone number. And
yeah, all they got to do is go to massre.club and get signed up.
Okay, I believe that's it, buddy.
Awesome. Well, it's been great. I'll see everybody on the 31st.
Okay,
all right,
thank
so
you very much, Alan.
how long is that website open till?
Till Sunday night. What is today? What is today?
Tuesday, last time I checked.
Yeah, yeah. Just the rest of this week, and that's it.
Thank you.
Yep, good question. All right. Thanks for having me, Mike. Thanks, everybody. You guys.
Thanks for helping our members out. I really appreciate it, Alan.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Good.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Bye-bye.